there. I am so excited this morning. I have I'd have to say maybe one of my girl crushes. She has just been a powerhouse in the Western industry and all boutique industries. And there's three things that I love about Ashley. I love that she saw there was a hole in the industry and she ran with it. People told her she was crazy. People told her she was nuts, that her little idea was basically dumb. And 11 years later, look where we're at. Number two, she is a cowgirl through and through. She's a barrel racer. She's a rodeo mom. I mean, ranching, lifestyle, all the things, and knows how to transition between those two things in her life. And number three, because I'm an old queenie, she was Miss Rodeo America. So I'm going to bring that up every time I see her because I think it's such a huge, amazing accomplishment. That, all us queens evolve into something even more beautiful.
Oh man, it just starts with the crown, right?
That's right. Well, and I do feel like, when we were younger, to be in any kind of woman in the forefront of things, you had to do the beauty pageant way. There was just something that was the niche you kind of had to be in. I don't think so anymore at all.
No, I totally agree. I think it was a great stepping stone for me, the thing that attracted me to it, I've just got to tell you this quick story. I actually never wanted to be a rodeo queen, if I can be honest. When I grew up, I was the youngest of 6 kids, 5 girls and a boy. All of my siblings, we grew up on a ranch, we all rodeoed. All of my siblings excelled at something different. One was a state champion, college champion goat tire. One was a great breakaway roper. One had an awesome barrel horse. They all had their own thing. And I was the youngest. And so I honestly just got sick of all their input. Everyone was telling me what to do. And so it's listen, guys, I'm going to do something that you don't know anything about. I'm going to be a rodeo queen. And they're like, what? They had this huge, are you sure? Because they had misconceptions of rodeo queens not being real cowgirls. And I was like, no, I'm going to win a state champion goat tying buckle the same year I'm Miss Rodeo North Dakota. Watch me. And I did. I did this same thing. I would do the grand entry. I would tie some goats at the amateur rodeos and keep going. But that was always my mission. And I think the coolest part about what I learned in that process and the thing that really turned me onto this whole thing for the rest of my life was I met women who I thought, someday that's exactly who I want to be like. They were professional. They could speak. They had great businesses or they had leadership positions at businesses. And I was like, that's the kind of, career woman or entrepreneurial woman that I really want to be. And I saw being a queen as a pathway to that.
Yes.
And a fast track to that. And it's not always what you know, but it's who you know. And the queen side of things, I think, opens so many doors to meet amazing people. So I was just blessed that I got the opportunity. And it was only out of silly stubbornness that led me down that path.
Yes. And you also, you've told your story, having cancer during your reign. So that, you are such a dynamic woman. It's just phenomenal. So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I applaud you on all those things. You just love to keep picking things that are hard and just knock down walls.
Apparently I get bored easy. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask, because we're going to have a lot of people that either have stores or in the wholesale business will be wondering. And so the big thing, what's crazy is this week having this interview with you. This week was 9 years ago this week that Gypsy Soul ended, my old company. So it's kind of special. I'm getting to talk to you this week.
Oh.
But what's so fun, so I have the showrooms there in Dallas.
Yeah.
And when I took Lucky Chuck there, the sock company, and got that first showroom, everybody's like, oh, first Mondays are great. This is great. That is great. You make so much money. And I'm just thinking, I don't remember market, things being so crazy, but they were all coming off the cusp of COVID. And so I look at, for me personally, I feel like, business is back to the way it was before this craziness of COVID, which was so many years ago now. But what do you think on that?
How has business changed since COVID?
Well, I just feel like it's the same amount of business. at the markets and everything, like people are like, well, markets are down. This isn't good. The showroom isn't doing what it was. But I feel like if you take the block of COVID out of the equation, it's maybe even a little better than before.
Yeah.
I just was wondering, because you've been in this for 11 years now,
Yeah.
and kind of just if you pull that crazy 2 years of everybody buying and selling everything,
Yeah.
just kind of your take on that.
Sure. Yeah. So it was such a crazy time. I feel like COVID was like a false sense of reality for a lot of people. I mean, there was all this stimulus money that got pumped into the economy. People were trapped at home, so they were spending, like crazy. They were on social media 24/7, so they were showing up to what was new at that time, like live selling. The industry just absolutely exploded. And then, and I loved this, we saw so many people who had a traditional brick and mortar business who had not really sold online yet, and even wholesale brands who were a little slow to understanding e-commerce and selling online. All of a sudden, they had to figure it out. There was no choice or maybe someday. It's like, no, I have to do this tomorrow. So everybody made that shift. Business absolutely exploded for 2 years. And then now, I think we're just leveling off to what that trajectory was. And I do see sales for a lot of people higher than what they were at the 2018, 2019 mark, but they're still hanging on to COVID was my normal. COVID was nobody's normal. And then
No.
I think now you have people like you have one of two mindsets. Either they're like, woe is me, sales are down. What am I going to do about it? Or they're like, wow, look at that shot in the arm that I got. It made me better. And here's where I'm going to go from here. And they recognize that business is full of highs and lows. Like
Yes.
there's always going to be peaks and valleys, but business is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So how am I going to ride those waves to get to the other side? And that's just where we're at now. It's just normaling.
Yeah, it's back to normal. I was visiting with a gal at the horse show this last weekend, and she's just starting her own business. And so she's going through all the drama that you go through that you don't
Yeah.
even realize. And she's like, well, maybe this is God just telling me that I should go back and get a regular job. And I'm like, no, this has, I mean,
Mhm.
God has a lot to do with a lot of things in our lives, but this is being in business for yourself. It's a
Yeah.
beating every day. And if you just have to giggle or look at it as a chess game and move on. So I agree with that. So as far as since we're on this topic, what are some of your biggest trade show secrets for wholesalers, and what is their biggest mistakes that they make?
Oh, I love this question. So on the wholesale side of things, um, gosh, a couple things. First, I would say take this page out of a retailer's book, and that is the page of community over competition. When I first started in this industry, and you can probably fully relate to this and have your own stories, but when I first came in, there was no community over competition. It was very cutthroat, and it was like you went to market, and when you, as a retailer, had things on a rack, you were kind of hiding it. So Becky across the street had no idea what you were buying because you had to beat Becky. Well, I think what we've all learned, and this has really been my motto to push this, is a rising tide lifts all ships. And wherever two or more stores come together, they become a destination. There's
Mm.
power in numbers, there's power in us leveraging one another's life experiences to build a stronger industry that really lifts everybody. Retailers, I think, have learned to do that really well. Wholesalers really were a little bit slower to that process.
Mhm.
Wholesalers, in my opinion, are still a little bit too guarded, like, oh, I can't tell anyone my trade secrets or where I manufacture or how I do this because someone will quickly knock me off. I just think there's more than enough opportunity to go around when you share with one another and use it to create a stronger wholesale side of the industry. So that's one thing. The second thing I think that's really important for the wholesalers to leverage trade shows is you can't look at the trade show as the end all be all. And I think
No.
in the olden days you could. Like I went to market, that's where I made all my orders. I went home, I fulfilled all my orders and I waited for the next trade show. It doesn't work like that anymore. So as a wholesaler, what is your digital marketing strategy? How strong is your email list? How strong is your remarketing and your get backs? Are you running Facebook ads? We have a program inside of the Boutique Hub called Boutique Hub Black. And we're teaching retailers and wholesalers both how to run their own ads and how to leverage all of their own Google, Facebook, TikTok ads, Pinterest, all the things. Wholesalers can be running those ads as well and should be to capitalize on those opportunities. And then what is your pre and post show marketing strategy and how are you fulfilling orders in the meantime in between shows? So you have to be just as strong digitally as you are in person. And then finally, last, like third big tip is And Lo, you're so good at this. But it's just like, what is the customer experience? What makes your brand memorable? It's not about selling a product. Like, we're beyond that. Products are a
Mm-hmm.
dime a dozen out there. What's the brand you're building? What is like making your brand memorable? What's the personal connection and relationship and community that you're building around your wholesale business? I think that's equally as important as the product itself being high quality.
Agree. And it's it when if you stop selling and make it about a lifestyle or what,
Yeah.
people buy everything on the experience they're going to get. I make a great
Yeah.
sock. I make one of the best socks in the industry,
Yeah.
but they're buying it because it's fun. It's something to talk about. It. They feel lucky. There's so, I can go on and on and on. Nobody's asked me. It's made from hemp. It's recyclable cotton. It's da 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 da. And it's sad. I mean, I've done both sides of it, but nobody. At the end of the day, it's how they feel. It's the same with
Yes.
Gypsy Soul.
It was the same. Yes.
It made it how it made you feel when you put a pair on. Yes, they were real Swarovski crystals. Yes, we handmade them, but it was all back to that feeling when they put them on and that experience you give them. And it's so true. I remember in the late 90s when I had One Stop Cowboy Shop and I would set up at 47 shows. I was on the retail side. I did 47 shows a year.
That's a lot.
It was insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, in your 20s, it's great. You live on Tostitos and bean dip and Coke and drive all night with Red Bull. But anyways, I mean, I would I would make copies of every check that I got. So I had their address and I had this whole binder because I don't even know that I used Excel spreadsheets back then. And then, I mean, I had a book and I would make flyers and put them in the bathrooms and on the gate where everybody entered the roping or the barrel race or wherever, like every way possible, which is the same, running Facebook ads, email list. I mean, I just saw a pretty predominant person on Instagram in our industry that she just got her social media hacked and taken away, 300,000 followers, and I'm thinking where your email list should, I mean, I've either way, it's awful. I mean, but talking about having to lay off employees and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, that is why it's so important. You don't ever count on you don't count on the Dallas market or any Atlanta market or Magic to make you bring your customers there. It's your job. They're just giving you a place. And we've talked about that before, but your email list, social media, your market, all of it, you have to do all of it.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I actually just talked to a retailer the other day. And this is like such a sad story. I hate to even tell you guys this because it's going to strike fear in everyone's heart. But this is a business owner doing more than $10 million a year retail. And they got hacked. All their meta got taken down. Their ads that they've been running for years, everything gone. And they tried and tried and tried. Second mortgage their home, did everything they could to try to rebuild this business and didn't. And completely recently shut the doors. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like we have to tell people this story. We have to keep beating the drum of we can't keep putting all of our eggs in one basket. We have to, and not that they were, I know they were diversified, but it's a real threat out there. So we've got to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Mm-hmm. No, it's so important. I mean, I look at, I want to do so much more with Lucky Chuck on social media, but I'm so thankful. I've got an email list of almost 30,000 people.
Yeah.
And granted, they're all not active or, converting. But you've got to have that email list and my social media, the business's social media, being in front of markets, it's, you got to have all the different ways.
Well, and when you take that email list that you have and you build a custom audience in Facebook, like not only do you run ads to that direct email list, but now you can say, hey, Facebook, go help find me a lookalike audience just like these people. Like if you have the email list, you can leverage it in so many different powerful ways.
So what are some of the top most productive things, hacks that you guys teach people to keep them on track?
Oh gosh. Well, we could go into so many different like nooks and crannies, but I think business is so dynamic and it's so easy as a small business owner to think, on Tuesday, you're scrolling social media and you're like, oh, this person was talking about running ads. I should learn how to do that. And Wednesday, you open up social media and someone's talking about hiring a team and, oh, I should do that. And the next person's talking about Pinterest and you're like, oh, I should do that. And it's really hard to know, where do I start? Where do I just boil down what is actually going to get me from point A to point B? So over our years in business and literally working with like thousands and thousands of retailers and wholesale brands, I think across, no matter, again, what side of the industry, retail, wholesale you're on, there is a proven 6-step process that every business has to look at, like building you from the foundation up. And no matter where you're at, even if you're a multi-million-dollar business, you still have to continually rebuild the foundation to continue to layer for success. So the very beginning, the foundational layer of business to me is just a couple things. It's your brand, it's your operation strategy, and it's you and your personal productivity and how you live as a CEO versus an entrepreneur. Like those 3 things constantly have to get worked on. Once you've built that layer number 2 is products and profitability. So it's understanding my cash flow, my inventory management, really digging into what are the numbers telling me. And unfortunately, a lot of people in this industry hate numbers. They're scared of them.
They're terrible.
It's terrifying. And I think if you just replace the word numbers with dollars, it would make
Yes.
you feel differently. Your reports would be so much more powerful because we're talking about real dollars that you can do something with and you can create a marketing strategy around, but you have to know what they mean first. So that's layer number 2. Layer number 3 is all about team and productivity and how to build, optimize, and grow a really great team. I've been so blessed at the Hub. We have an amazing team I could rave about for days. Number 4 is sales strategy. So merchandising, e-commerce, live sales, and brick and mortar strategy. Exactly how are you solving your customers' problems, making them the hero of the story to defeat the big villain in their life and really get more products in people's hands. Layer number 5 is all about content strategy. So I just hate the idea of what am I going to post on Instagram today? Well,
Yes.
it's not about that. It's about what is my overall content strategy and how much traffic do I have to drive every single week to make this much in sales? And there's all kinds of formulas I could talk about in order to get you there, but there's a strategy. And then finally, the 6th layer, the layer on top is actually the marketing itself. So social media, public relations, traditional marketing, and paid marketing, all of those things. But the mistake most business owners make is they start at the top. They start with the marketing, but they're losing money like a wide funnel because they don't have any of the other things solidified. So I think we've got to start with that 6th layer strategy.
Yes. No, because then spending can get, I look at,
Oh,
I have so many people with my consulting business that they're like, I have an idea and I'm just going to make this. Can you just get this made? And I'm like, and I hate to be Debbie Downer, but I'm just like, okay, this isn't like a $2,500 commitment. Like we've got to build the brand. We've got to trademark it. We've got And by the time we even get to the fun part that you think you want to do, making yourself an influencer of your own brand, we're $50,000 into this if we're lucky. So,
yes.
and it's not all about money because like I've started several companies on no interest credit cards or, $5,000 and just grew it from there. But, they don't, and that's the biggest thing. What are your margins? Where's your profit? And numbers don't lie. And when you can't tell me that is, your pyramid's going to fall down real fast.
Yeah. It's not for the faint of heart. Just like we said, this whole thing, to me, it's a game. And once you understand the rules of the game, and to me, those 6 layers are the rules of the game, you can play any game in any type of business if you know those 6 things. And okay, if I have a problem, it all directly relates back to one of those 6. How do I know which one it is? So just like you said, if I go to consult somebody myself and I ask them, well, what were your sales last year? What's your comparable? Like, what are your sales this year versus last year? Or, this month versus this month last year? And what's your average order value? What's your conversion rate? And how much traffic do you need? If they can answer like at least one of those questions or 2 of those questions, I'm like, oh, go back to the drawing board, go dig into the numbers and understand for a baseline where you're at. Then we can talk about how to build up from there.
Yeah, because if you can have the greatest marketing if you don't have any money to get the product here and ship it.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. So being kind of on this topic, since you've been in business now for 11 years, which is amazing, what is the one thing you wish you knew could have done differently in the first year or two? What is there something in there that might strike a chord with other people in their first year?
Yeah. Oh my god, there's so many things. There's so many things that I just really screwed up along the way. I can't even begin to tell you. But the biggest one for me, I think this was my biggest problem early on. I had terrible imposter syndrome. Terrible. Like I really, and again, I'm from the Midwest, and I kept thinking, I had this belief system that who am I from a small town in the Midwest to create anything? I thought retail and fashion and startups, because I was a startup, right? And a tech company. This is all LA. This is all New York. This is all these other people, but like who am I to do this? And so I started to just second guess like what I was capable of. And I thought I had to like find somebody else to help me along the way. I had an experience where I tried to bring somebody into the company. They ended up draining my bank account, stealing my customer list, and blocking me from all of the social media I had created. So I learned real fast the hard way that I didn't need this person I thought I needed who turned out to be a scam artist. And after like laying on the couch and sucking my thumb for about a solid week, and my husband saying, it's okay if you want to quit, like I support you no matter what you want to do. It was kind of like that. And I think this is such a like Western industry thing, but that
Yep.
feeling in your gut of, okay, watch out, like watch
Yeah.
me, I've got this. I just have to figure out the next step to take. That's it. Like if I can just put one more foot forward, I know I can figure out what to do next, and I'm capable of this. I believe I'm capable of this. Once that belief changed to I can do this versus who am I to do this, then I felt like everything changed.
No, I there's so many times that you think you need this other person, or your belief system is a little jacked up.
Yeah.
And it's amazing and it's like that probably had to happen to you
Yeah.
then. So it carried you to now. And that's, I mean, even with all the businesses I've done, I've just had this huge struggle of, I keep thinking I can find someone to kind of help sail the ship with me doing this. And I have to remind myself, for this business, I have designed it for me to run it. Distribution is up in Wyoming. I do have somebody that handles all my e-blasts, because, I gotta look at the numbers, and does it make more sense for me to make the e-blasts or whatever,
Yeah.
or pay someone. I have never found anyone that's been able to do any of my social media. So for me, I still feel like it has to come from me. But it is when you realize, I can do this. I can make this happen. I'm going to work a lot more and be a little more stressed. But like you said, my dad has always said that you have to think of business as a game. Always. It's because if you don't, you're not going to make it. It's a game. You're not going to lose your birthday. It's fine. It'll all work out. The worst that can happen is you have to move back in with your parents as grown adults.
I totally agree. Like it's fine. You'll figure it out. But to your point, like what I hear you saying, and this is something I've thought about so much. And this whole idea kind of came out of my struggle, but it's the idea that we all start out as an entrepreneur. But in order to grow, you have to shift your mindset from being a hustling, DIY, money saving, do it yourself entrepreneur to being a strategic CEO.
Yep.
It's a totally different mindset. And when you can shift to being a CEO, and really to me, the main difference is just your relationship between time and money.
Yes.
So as an entrepreneur, you just think like, I have to save money to make money. Like it's just a struggle around there's only so much money. But as a CEO, you believe that money in this world is infinite. There's more than enough money to go out and to figure out how to earn. Like you'll get there. But the only thing that's limited is time. So how do I take the money that I have, big or small, might be like next to nothing. That's how I started, $10 an hour, 3 hours a week with an intern. How do I take that little bit of money that I have, invest it somewhere where I can create more time? And then I, as a CEO, will focus only on income generating activity. If you can do that repeatedly, that is the system to scaling a business.
Yes. Yes. I'm in the midst of all of that again. It's happening. It's happening. Putting the right people. Yes. But it's a process. And I feel like, you make a year plan, a 2-year plan, a 6-month plan,
Yeah.
but I'm always revisiting the plan because there's always, you're pivoting. You've got to, okay, that's not working right now. It doesn't mean it won't work again in 3 months. So I feel like you've got to learn to pivot and revisit those things every month, every few weeks.
Absolutely. And the idea, I don't know if it was like this for you in school, but for me in school, everyone was like, well, build the business plan, right? Like lay everything out from A to B, and that's how it's going to be. No, that is not reality. You have to be willing to get in there and fail really fast and go, well,
Yes.
that wasn't for me, but this over here is what I learned something in this failure that created this new opportunity. And the boutique hub at first, like I failed pretty hard a couple different times. The first version of the website I ever built was an online shopping mall of boutiques. And it was trying to be a place for, consumers like me in the middle of nowhere to go find these great, great little shops that I was discovering at a rodeo in Reno or at the NFR, whatever. But what I realized was I didn't have enough boutiques to attract enough shoppers and not enough shoppers to make it worthwhile for the boutiques. And it was like I was stuck. But it was like having to learn that idea didn't work. It was a flop for me. That's what led to what the boutique hub is today. And hearing all these retailers say, I just need help. I just need to know how to run social media and Facebook ads and hire people and business strategy and know my numbers. And I was like, okay, I can help you with that or connect you with people who know more than I do. That's the idea that worked. So you got to fail fast, learn to pivot, and then move on.
Yes. Yes. It's just like hire slow, fire fast.
Yes. Yes. Same thing.
Yes. So in all of this, which I think is super important, and as a woman, building a brand, building a business, and the time and energy, but you're still a wife and a mom.
Yeah.
And so I feel so many women, and I've always had, I still can't believe I have 2 kids. I'm a mother of 2, and it's the most amazing thing I've done with my life. And it's made me a better person. I'm nicer, I'm kinder, all the things. They make me so wonderful, as I tell myself.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a struggle sometimes because you do have to be gone to markets or travel, all the things. So, and I don't like the word work-life balance. I hate that because every day there's, maybe it's a daily balance, but I still don't even like that. So just kind of talk to us about what is your struggle with that, and how do you keep yourself balanced in all of it?
I just hate the word balance, just like
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Because I think that word implies that it's like life is a zero-sum game. So
Yeah.
if I'm, putting all this energy and effort into growing my business, that means I must be lacking over here as a wife and as a mom. And I'm here to tell you, Lo, when we first started the hub, and my husband was so supportive all the way along, like truly, like just kind of gave it to God and said, whatever she needs, I'm going to be there to show up to support her. We had a lot of family and friends who weren't and told us this is a terrible idea. I got an email from a family member one time telling me that I needed to be at home cooking more home cooked meals for my children and that my children were starting to have a disheveled appearance.
Oh, that was super special.
Yeah. I got the email when I was in the airport headed to a mastermind in Miami, and I sat in the airport and cried.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, no one sent my husband that email when he was off with his salesman job trying to make money for our family. Like, no one criticized him for working so hard. Why, as a mother, are you criticizing me? That's so unfair. And so we really had a big family battle. And again, my husband was never on the other side of that. He was always on my side, and I appreciate that about him. But eventually, things started to work. And then everyone's like, oh, we always knew it was going to be a success. And I'm like, oh, for Pete's sake, that's a lie.
Yeah.
But the lesson I've learned in all of that is, like I said, it's not a zero-sum game, but we've really tried hard to bring our kids along this journey and for them to understand our why, like we understand our why. So as much as we've been able to involve them along the way of knowing what we're doing, how we serve people, how it changes their life, sometimes it requires sacrifices for us, but it's for the benefit of others. And we can consider it a tithe, consider it a give back, whatever it is. As long as our kids are bought in and they understand, I think that makes it easy. And I also look at it, and they see this too. Life's like, it's like you're constantly juggling, right? But some of the balls that
Yes.
you're juggling are glass and some of the balls are rubber. And you just have to know what season you're in and when I can drop which balls.
Yes. I love that analogy.
Well, I mean, sometimes I
Yeah.
might really, fail in certain departments, but other times I'm going to be stellar. But we also have non-negotiables as a family, and I think that's helped. Like, I will not miss a kid's rodeo. Like, my daughter's in high school rodeo. We went through the whole junior high thing. I will never miss one. I will not miss a basketball game. Like, there's certain things that are standard for us, family vacations, whatever it might be. I'll always be there, and they know that. So for me to have a boundary of when I can go where, and then when I can shut off work and just be completely present with them in terms of like quality over quantity.
Yes. Yes. I used to, when the girls were little, I would come home from the office, and that first 30 minute, I'd have the nanny here or whatever. And that first 30 minutes was in their rooms, on the floor, whatever that was. And it was just crazy when I tuned into them for that first 30 minutes, connected,
Yes.
45 minutes, whatever it was, and then needed to cook dinner, go out and feed, ride the horse, whatever it was. It just set the pace for the rest of the evening, or that day. And then it just was easy. It wasn't just them demanding mama, or whatever.
Yeah.
They felt recognized, uh, that they knew you were acknowledging them. So
Mhm.
again, like I feel like a lot of women struggle with that. And it's the same, the man. And I feel things are not as archaic as they used to be.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you were a trailblazer in this department. I look at you like, man, I mean, you really were one of the first women that I saw in a very male dominated industry that made waves. Like, thanks for paving the way for so many of us.
well, I can't take all of it, because I have to say that about my mother-in-law, the Rocky and Cinch lady. Brenda was
Yes.
very, she was doing that a lot. But I mean, it's just, now we know because of social media.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yes, yes, yes. So I want to thank you so very much for taking the time today to keep
Yeah.
your work-life balance in balance. Tell everyone how they can find you, find the Boutique Hub,
Yeah.
because I know 99.9% of my listeners are going to need you in their life.
Well, I would welcome all of you over to this side of things. Well, two things. If you are a product based business owner, rep, you live in the wholesale world, retail world, whatever it might be, theboutiquehub.com is the best place to start. And then, of course, we're on every single social channel under the sun at the Boutique Hub. If you're someone like me who's an entrepreneur, your wife, your mom, your rodeo mom, your barrel racer, whatever it is, cancer survivor, my personal Instagram is where I share all those behind the scenes tidbits. And that's AJ Alderson on Instagram.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I can't wait. I probably won't see you till January market.
I know. I can't wait. We're going to connect
Yes.
for sure.
Okay. Thank you. And have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Yay.
Yay.